Hey guys, this is Daniel from Welch Collectibles. Let's talk about Sacred Legacy, the New Testament core set, first edition. This is a new set, guys. It came out at the end of 2025. The first edition print run was about 6 months, and let's talk about it. So, what are Sacred Legacy cards? They're not playable cards like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering. Rather, they're collectible trading cards designed to target uh, biblical believers. I like to think of them as visual Bible aids that reference characters, places, and events found in Scripture. One of the big hangups on this new Christian set is whether or not it's a sin. And for me, I think the answer is no. They're merely collectible cards, they're not idols of worship or anything like that. There's no sin in buying or selling Christian collectibles. People collect all manner of things, so why not collect something you're passionate about? Looking at the card list, there are 105 cards, 5 different levels of rarity. There's common, uncommon, rares, full arts, and secret rares. This card list doesn't include the promos or the alternate art, but we will talk about those here in a second. Now, when this set was initially released, they came out with Early Believers Bundle first, and the contents of that included 6 booster packs, an exclusive Jesus of Nazareth card, the P106, which I believe to be the Grail card for this set, the collector's guide, card dividers, 1 of 5 promotional cards, and then a poster. And then the contents of the collector's bundle were pretty similar, minus the Jesus of Nazareth card that was only available in the Early Believers bundle. So, what's the value of a collectible? What makes collectibles valuable? Supply, production, and population. We're going to talk about each of these three as compared to the Sacred Legacy New Testament core set. Starting with supply, it's sold out now. It sold out approximately a month ago for the booster packs, collectors bundles, and the booster box. This was the first edition print run. It was all 2025 release. It was also indicated as first edition. So whatever they come out with now is going to be a 2026 release. Available at resale marketplaces such as eBay. So you can still buy them on the resale market. However, the first print runs from the MSRP, that's over with. The booster packs were listed at 640, collectors bundles $50, booster boxes were 175. Um, I don't know how much the early believers bundle came out as. Those sold out pretty quick, and I missed the boat on that. I ended up having to buy mine from the secondary market. So as far as the supply, they sold out of them. They're not making any more of them. The production, the New Testament core set, is Sacred Legacy's first edition set. While other print runs and sets are expected in the future, the first edition run appears to be over. This practice is common and essential for collectability. So I've been asked several times about the prices of some of the items that I have listed. Guys, those are first editions. They will make second or subsequent print runs, but just to expect the first edition runs to cost a little bit more on the secondary market. The 1999 Pokemon base set, first edition, for example, is a rare collectible. Modern card markets appear to print their products into oblivion, which is good for the manufacturer, selling the product, but not a stable investment for collectors who expect their collectibles to be limited or appreciate over time. I just came from sports cards. I was trying to get out of sports card altogether when I found this set. I just got tired of, all the parallels, the overprinting. Same thing with Pokemon. There was too much product, too many new products, and as an investor, it's hard to park your money in something with confidence when they're overprinting everything. It's it's a risky business for long-term growth. It appears that Sacred Legacy's upcoming restock will not include the first edition state of the New Testament core set. I did confirm that through messages, and they did advise that whatever they do come out with is going to be 2026. And if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of this card and all the New Testament core set cards, it says 1E on there, first edition, and we won't see that again. The population, the production numbers will likely not be disclosed by Sacred Legacy. I confirmed that as well. I asked them point blank, as a collector, I am concerned with print runs and, how many runs they're going to have of a product. If you take Pokemon, for example, they'll print a set and then they'll print a set again 6 months. I mean, they could reprint sets for 2 or 3 years, and it does affect the value. So it is one of the questions I asked them. The New Testament core set was for sale for 6 months, and it's over. So whatever is out in the wild is out in the wild. It's likely that the New Testament core set, being the inaugural set, was printed in a limited capacity. I can certainly say that the early believers box was a limited capacity. The collector's bundles were limited capacities. So all the promo cards are probably the most rare. PSA population report on the next slide. We'll talk about some of the graded numbers. So I just pulled this. Today's date is June 23rd, 2026. So whenever you're watching this is when these numbers were pulled from PSA's population report. And this is just for the graded cards for the New Testament core set. And as of today's date, there are only 28 total cards graded from the whole set at PSA. Now, I understand that PSA is going through backlogs right now, so grading is kind of held up right now. So who knows what those numbers are going to look like 4 or 5 months ago. But guys, the set's out of print. It's been on the market for 7 months now, and I'm only seeing 28 graded in the whole set. So that is good for us as collectors. That's good for those who are, looking at the investor side of this, because they are collectible cards at the end of the day. We're buying these to collect and hopefully gain value over time. And there's nothing wrong with that. The secondary prints or whatever the case may be, we can sell those at MSRP, resell them close to MSRP. But I expect the first edition print runs, to be treated similar to Pokemon and Magic. I mean, that's kind of how they're going to be collected in the future. So 21, that's a pretty low population. I do anticipate those numbers to rise, but it is interesting to note. Now, comps for sealed booster boxes. Pokemon came out in 1999. Magic the Gathering came out in 93, 94. All right. These are recent comps. These are sold prices, guys. This isn't a list price. This isn't, pipe dream prices or putting a price tag on it or, whatever the case may be. These are pulled from eBay sold listings. The top one sold May 1st, $12,650 for this base set booster box. All right. The next one, 94 Magic the Gathering sealed booster box, $21,100. All right, even their modern sets, Evolving Skies, that set came out in like 2021. It sold May 4th, sealed product for $4,000. All right, there is a market for sealed products. There's a market for graded products, and there's a major market for rare, scarce, valuable collectibles. And first edition ones meet all this criteria. And I'm just trying to draw some attention to that. So it won't be uncommon to see New Testament core set prices in the future to have prices similar to this. And that's how I list mine out. When I've got some on eBay right now, early believers, collectors bundles, even the booster boxes. And I've had some messages, hey, why is yours priced that way? Well, I don't want to sell it right now. When sometimes I'll post stuff on there and that's a 3-year sell price. In 3 years, I would anticipate an early believers box, for example, to be about $6,000. All right. I don't think that's, unattainable. And this is how I would value that. I'm looking at similar comps. Now, granted, these are from the 90s, but look at modern, that's why I threw in the modern one from 2021, Evolving Skies. $4,000, guys. So it's very interesting to note. Next, we'll have graded individual cards. So we talked about the sealed product. Let's talk about the graded cards. And I basically took the Grail cards from each set: Magic, Pokemon, and Sacred Legacy. Obviously, Pokemon's top card is the first edition Charizard from '99. Recent sale of that on May 12th was $350,000, guys. Sold. I also added the PSA population reports to the right. Guys, there's 98,000 of those cards, all right? So I'm surprised it is valuable as it is with that many out there, but it is. And, it is what it is on that. Um, take a look at the Black Lotus. Now, I could only find in recent sales, I could only find a PSA 3. So you can imagine going up from 3 all the way to 10. Obviously, the card prices are going to be of higher value. But I found this sale on March 31st, 2026 for $55,000. You're looking at the PSA pop report to the right, there's 109 of them. All right. So a lot less there. And the only comparable for that, the New Testament core set, the Grail card has got to be this Jesus of Nazareth full art early believers promo, the P106, the chosen one, Jesus of Nazareth. It's selling raw for $1,300, $1,350. I've watched those cards go up in value. This one sold on May 13th. All right. Now, this is a new card. Obviously, there's not a whole lot reported on the pop report. And if you look at PSAs, there's only one that's been graded. And I believe that was a PSA 7. So over time, we'll kind of see how many there are that make it to grading. But I don't anticipate there to be too many. And I think if you can buy that card raw for anywhere around $1,000, you know, you should do that. Pull the trigger. If you're serious about collecting this set for collectible value and long-term growth, that is the Grail card. I've seen some of these graded by tag and they haven't sold yet, but they're listed for $3,000, $5,000. And I'll be honest with you, when I get mine back from PSA, I'm putting a $5,000 price tag on it. All right. And I'm going to hate to sell it at that price, to be honest with you. But I'm looking at, you know, growth potential on that. And these are the comps, they're very reasonable comps. And lastly, guys, this is an investment opportunity. This modern first edition set has the same collectible potential as Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. All right, so if you missed those releases, most of us were kids when those come out. Well, now we have the same opportunity to catch this first edition release, and it's not too late. The subject matter is real. These are real people, places, and biblical times, biblical events. The artwork is beautiful. Christian collectibles, they're Christian collectibles with bullish long-term potentials. And for that, that excites me because I'm tired of sports and other collectible markets. I was so burnt out with sports cards that I almost got out of the business altogether, and I've been selling sports cards for years. I almost sold all my inventory. Well, I actually did sell all my inventory a few months ago, about the same time I found this set. And it just kind of re energized me, and it gave me a collectible market to be excited about. And I'm excited about this set. I'm excited about future sets. It's Christian based. That's my passion. That's my faith. And I know a lot of you guys share the same passion for the Bible as I do. So I'm very excited about this. And for those reasons, I'm all in on it. You know, I missed the release on a lot of those products, but I've since went back and put my money where my mouth is. You know, I'm up to 5 early believers boxes. I've got 3 collectors bundles. I've got like 6 or 7 booster boxes, and I'm not selling them all. I mean, I will list some to recoup some of those funds, but I'm holding some of those long term. I'll also be selling, raw cards. My business revolves primarily around graded cards, and I'll have many of those graded and available on my eBay store in the coming months. But right now, everything's slow, and PSA's trying to catch up on their backlogs. But guys, this is an opportunity. Whether you can buy booster boxes or the raw cards or the graded cards, whatever you can get your hands on, I would, you know, I would think this is a very good investment opportunity to jump on board with. So, without making this video too long, I do plan on doing some unboxings, some more unboxings on the channel. And if you guys like this content or want some future updates or more videos of, market updates on this type of stuff, drop us a comment. And anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and on to the next.